Good morning everyone and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity, and today it's the Tuesday tutorial. So we're going to have some fun today. I'm going to hope I don't burn the house down. I'm about to do something I've never done before. So here I've got an Aliexpress silicone mat, and I've also got a glass coaster that is on silicone feet. You're going to see why. And I'm going to be using the KSCRAFT bottle cap die, and because I've never done this before, I'm using the largest one. So I'm going to pop that up there out of the way. I've cut out some pieces, so these are the pieces of the bottle cap, and these are what I want to be working on, the white pieces, because my idea is that if I can do a wax seal onto this and then glue it onto that, then I'm going to be able to sort of like attach it to anything I want. That's what I'm thinking. And I've also cut this one. Now these frames are not available anymore, I don't think. If they are, I will link them below, because I'm thinking I've got this really old rubber stamp, and I'm wondering if I can't make a huge seal out of a rubber stamp and pop it onto there. So we're going to do that, and we'll probably do that last. Yeah, that's if I, as I say, I haven't burnt the house down. So I'm going to keep all my bits up there, and I'm going to bring one piece here. Right, what I was sent was some bronze heart-shaped wax beads. This is from a company called CRASPIRE. They sent me 3 handles, probably because I'm going to have to buy another 2 stamps or something to pop onto there. And I've also got a made with love stamp. Now I'm going to get that out, and it won't matter which way around I stamp because I'm stamping on a circle, but that actually says made with love. Now I hope I can get my camera to behave itself and get some clarity there. I don't want to go too low because I'm going to have a hot candle right there. So you do get different colour handles in this set, and hopefully I'm going to be, let's find the sweet spot on the camera. Ooh, it was a bit disco, wasn't it? There you go. That actually says made with love. So that is going to be the stamp that I'm using. And I was also sent some pink and white and red beads. So I think what I'm going to do is use my red ones first. Yeah, why not? And I've also been sent some candles. Right. So this is quite a flat candle, and they did get a bit squished in the post. So I've got my wick pointing up there. I'm going to put that into the center of that glass coaster. Now I did watch a couple of videos on this, but I still don't have a clue what I'm doing. Now you get a melty spoon, and I've also got 2 metallic markers that I know I can go over the surface of the wax with. So that's my spoon. I'm a little bit worried it's all metal and it might get hot and I might burn myself. I don't know. Let's find out. And what else have I got? I've got a barbecue lighter tool here, which I'm going to light my candle with in a second. And I've also got my 2 pens. So I'm just going to pop those over to the side as well. Right, I haven't got a clue how much of that wax I'm going to need for that stamp. So I'm just guessing it, and I'm going to use my bronze ones after on that big stamp, I think, because I've got loads of those, but I haven't got so many of these. All right, so I want pink beads, and I can see by the size of that bowl you can't really get that much in. So I'm going to guess here that maybe 5. If it starts overflowing, we'll be in trouble. Actually, no, I'm going to put 6 in, because maybe I want to make something very overflowing and chunky. Right, I'm going to light my candle now. This is what I think where you're supposed to say a prayer. Right, the candle is lit. So one of the things that I did pick up from watching videos is that you're not supposed to let the wax bubble. You're just supposed to melt it. Right, And I can imagine, because it's stainless steel, it's going to get a lot of soot from the flame. And I can't imagine that you want that in your wax. So anyway, here goes. And we're working in real time. And I know that I need to get it, as I say, hot without bubbling, because apparently if you get it bubbling hot, you get bubbles in it. And apparently bubbles in your seal is very unprofessional. But I can see that it's starting to melt now. So I do apologise for the time this is going to take, but it's a bit of fun. Tum ta 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 ta. No, I don't have a singing voice either. I'm just keeping my eye on it in case I set fire to my camera. Right, so they're melting quite successfully. And I think that's probably what, taken a minute for those 6 beads to start melting. Quite a nice shade of pink. If I run out of things to say, I'll let you know. Because I'm not going to fast forward this. But I know that I melted, obviously, where it's at the bottom. But I've still got those lumps at the top. I hope that doesn't mean that the wax is going to start doing the stuff that they tell you it shouldn't do. Going a little bit closer. Now, there isn't actually any smoke or smell or anything coming off this wax, which is good, because stinky stuff isn't good. Right. Ooh. And I've also, as well, got some embossing powder there. Well, right, that just started smoking a bit. So I'm imagining now that that is hot, even though it looks like I've still got a solid bit in the middle. So I don't want it to bubble. I've been told don't let it bubble, whatever you do. Well, I'm going to go for that. And I saw them sort of like, they poured it very professionally in the middle and puddled it out, just like that. So that's my first one. And then they just pick their wax seal up and they just drop it. Whoop. There we go. I knew it was a good idea to cut the big ones, because I didn't want it overflowing everywhere. Oh, sorry about that. That was just an update noise. I'll just shut that reminder off. I don't know how long it takes to set, and I don't really want to waggle it around and ruin it. But there you go, you see. Sooty spoon. So that's not very pretty. I must remember to wipe that. Oh, it's all come off on the mat. That's all right, I can run off and wash it. Now, is that still soft? Because you don't want to put your fingers in it and ruin it, do you? Do you know what I mean? Oh, look at that. Oh, it came off clean. Oh, look, I did get bubbles. But how pretty is that? Made with love. Ooh, I wonder how I'm going to make them without bubbles in them. Oh, that's really awesome. And that was easy. And of course, as I said, the idea is to be able to then use some adhesive tape and fix that onto the bottle cap. Sorry, that's a bit blurred. So that I've got something that looks reasonably tidy. Although I do not know how to get rid of those bubbles. I'm sure there must be some kind of melt point or something on it. Oh, that was interesting. But now what I want to do is totally destroy what I've done. Yeah, I know, I'm naughty, aren't I? And I'm going to build that layer of wax up. I want to try using some embossing powder. Now, embossing powder is plastic, and yes, it will stink. So I would suggest, if you're going to use embossing powder, that you do it somewhere ventilated. Now, this is called, I think it's vintage rose or antique rose. Let's have a look. Aged rose, and it's by Stampendous. And if you can see in the spoon there, you get pink bits, white bits, and gold bits. Now, if you're embossing, obviously you're sprinkling that around and you're getting different shades everywhere. But as I'm sort of like melting this, I don't know what's going to happen. It might just all sort of like mingle together. But a good experiment anyway. And of course, we do know that embossing powder does melt under heat because we use our heat guns on it, and you do not need a lot of heat to get it going. Now, the inside of the spoon's looking a bit brown, but I don't know if that's the gold tint. Now, I don't want to overheat it. Now, I can't smell anything off this either. Don't know if that's because my sinuses aren't too good at the moment. Ooh. Oh, look at that. It's going like molten gold. Can you see that in the spoon? And then you've got that little bit that's not quite melted in the middle. So I'm really wanting to know if we can do a wax seal using embossing powder, because wax is not cheap. Not the stuff you do sealing wax with, because of course it's all in pretty beads and stuff. I'm pretty sure you could use a candle as well. So right there in the middle, yes, I know it doesn't look very pretty, and I'm trying to cover up the bit that I did, and I'm going to see what happens now. This may be a huge disaster, who knows? But usually embossing powder will set off quite quickly. But as I say, it's a huge lump of it, and it's warm, and it's still all sort of like melty in the spoon. But I think this is quite exciting. And we've just had 11 minutes of me heating wax and embossing powder over a tea light, which hasn't yet burnt the house down. Now, I'm wondering if that is set. Oh, yes, it is. What does that look like? That's not as sort of like defined, is it? I'm going to get a better picture of this. Got to zoom in. There you go. So, yeah, and it doesn't stick to the mould, but that's not as crisp and clean, is it, as the wax? Well, I don't think anyway. And I wonder if it peels off the wax. No, it's completely blended in. Oh, and you've got gold bits and pink bits. So although I didn't do a brilliant job there, we're now going to go for the big one. Let's see if it works on a stamp. So I've got this here, and I've got to decide what am I going to do to my stamp. Well, actually, no, I don't need that there yet, do I? Because I'm pouring it on here and it's going to have to set. Let's try white, and I'm going to use some black StazOn on the stamp. I'm extremely grateful to CRASPIRE for giving me some fun today. So I've put a little bit of StazOn down there, and now I'm just going to melt up 6 in the white. And I wonder if I should clean the bowl. Yeah, I will. I'll be back in a second. Right, so to clean the bowl, all I did was warm it up until all the waxy stuff had melted, and then I just wiped it out with a piece of kitchen paper. But I might need to re-ink that, and I'm going to get white so that we can see if anything good is going to come of it. See if we get bubbles in this. Now, that covered a reasonable area, I think. Obviously, this is something that I need to practice, because who knows what the sweet spot is. I'm going to go for 8 and hope that my spoon doesn't overflow. I think 8 will do it. And let's see how much of the stamped image we can get. Now, I am going to go back over that with StazOn. I'm going to push the pad down quite firmly. And as I say, I'm using a really old stamp, so if I destroy it, I'm not going to be heartbroken, because this one must be 15 or 20 years old. There we go. Right. So I'm now going to melt my white wax. I do love the smell of StazOn. It's like marzipan. Very almondy. So obviously the oil's in it. But I think this is going to be interesting to see if we can get a nice chunky square seal off a rubber stamp. I hope you grabbed yourself a cup of coffee, because I'm taking quite a while today. But yeah, your tea light will make it sooty. It's a pity they don't make a sort of tiny electric warmer. Would be better, wouldn't it? With a little bowl with a handle on it, so that you could keep a large amount melted at the right temperature, and you could just keep pouring it where you wanted to. But I bet this would be awesome with clear embossing powder. But we're starting to melt here. Just a few lumps left in the middle, and I'm so glad I didn't burn the house down. Yep, we're getting there. I'm trying not to go too close to the flame because I don't want to get any black sooty bits drop off. So this bowl then, this pouring spoon, if there's a proper word for it, I don't know. It will hold 8 of those little hearts. Now that little lump in the middle still looks solid. And it is starting to smoke slightly. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to pour onto my rubber stamp. And then I'm going to run it around. Ooh, who knows what's going to happen. It might be so thin that the piece snaps when it's dry. I don't know. But there's you can certainly run it around for a bit. Look at that. It's like frosting a cookie. Right, now I can still see some transparency there. That's quite a nice shape, I think, actually. But I don't know what's going to happen when I pull it out. I'm hoping that it picks up the ink, and I'm now going to blow out that candle. There we go. Oof. I hate the smell of a smoky candle. And we'll see if it's melted the stamp in a minute. Well, this is sort of like perfect timing for a tutorial. We're almost into 20 minutes. So what I want to do is, I think there's still a bit of warmth there. So I'm just going to get my cardstock and hope that it's in a place where it's going to look nice. Because there's still sort of like melty warmth. I can feel the heat coming through the card. And then I'm going to turn my stamp over and press. And we will find out if it's a disaster or not. I mean, I don't think it's probably in the place where I'd want it, but it looks pretty centre. Now let's have a look. Oh no, it's still wet. I'm going to pause and come back in a couple of minutes. Okay, so what I can tell you is that it did not stick down onto the cardstock. Obviously, that's something you have to do straight away for it to get into the fibres. And it still feels really warm on there. Now, I don't know whether that's a good thing or not. Oh, so it's cracking, which isn't good. And I guess wax wood if you put it on something flexible, thinking about it. Oh no, it's just shattering. So I'm just going to, it'd probably work better if I put it in the freezer, wouldn't it? All right, I'm off to the freezer for 5 minutes. Okay, so I put it in the freezer, but it's still cracking, which isn't ideal. I'm kind of keeping my thumb on it, hoping it would kind of mould it a bit, but it isn't. As you can see, it's just opening up everywhere. So maybe this isn't such a good idea for sealing wax. Although I've got the feeling it kind of like would come out eventually. But I'm sort of teasing it around the edges to see if I can see anything useful. But no, it was not a success. Although I'm pretty sure, that's a shame. She looks kind of distorted, bless her. Very ancient. She's all chipped. But I do know that when, because that still feels a little bit warm there. I do know that it will lift out of your stamp, but that's what I got. But isn't that a shame? Because that would have been quite cool if you could stamp into your seal. Oh, I do thank CRASPIRE for sending me those items, and I am going to use them again. I'm going to practice some more. But there you are. You're with me for a kind of like, it was a tutorial, but it wasn't a tutorial because I was teaching myself. It was a self-tutorial today. So, anyway, you have an awesome day. If you've already got a set like this, you let me know what your tricks are for making sure that you don't have bubbles in it, because without bubbles, it would be awesome. So, as usual, all links are below, and I am up again tomorrow with some serious MXR cuteness. You have a wonderful day. Bye.